Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and in this video I am going to show you how to actually build sideways inside of Ark Survival Ascended. Now it's actually a really easy thing to do, so obviously you can see that these are normal foundations, and these right here are gateways and foundations and all kinds of things. You can see that's a foundation and it's flipped 90 degrees onto its side, just so you can kind of see that I'm jumping on it. I'm gonna show you how to do it. It's actually a really easy thing to do, and learning how to do it is not difficult at all. You can see here we are with, I am literally standing on a wall, which just means that I'm gonna float down to the bottom, and there's not much I can do about it. I'm just stuck there, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and get out of that because that's going to be a nightmare, but you can see this is a wall and I just go downhill. So in order to do that, you're just going to need to know how to use one basic thing. Now, before we do that, if you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. Now let's go ahead and get started. So you can see we've done all of this. I'm going to go ahead and destroy foliage nearby. Destroy foliage. We're going to go for, let's go 10,000 units. That seems like it's enough. And we'll go ahead and destroy all of that, right? So anything nearby just got destroyed. Now what you're going to do is pretty simple. You can do this two different ways. You just need to be able to use, you can see it right here, right? This guy right here. Now this is your spike walls. It does not matter if it's a metal spiked wall or if it's just a wood spiked wall. Placing them down serves as a snap point, but it's a special snap point because you can actually kind of build these on top of each other and kind of go in funky ways like you used to be able to do in the past, right? You can see that I can kind of rotate it in the circle here if I really wanted to. Now, when you do that, you can place things on top of them and they actually serve as a snap point. So you can place things, not generic structure, by the way, but things that have snappability. So a fence foundation or a gate, right, will snap to these things. So that is how you actually do it. So now what you can do right off the bat, some of you are like, oh, this is an easy thing. And it is. You can place spiked objects, spiked walls, if you want to call them that. You can place them sideways on anything, right? So if you were to place it sideways like this, you can then use it as a snap point to place a gate down. Now you can flip this gate and you can see that it kind of snaps to that in special ways. Now it doesn't want to do it here because it's actually obstructed, but we can do this on a flat zone and make it a lot easier, right? So you can do this anytime just by walking up and placing it down, and then you can remove the spiked walls and it'll keep the gate in place. But in order to successfully build sideways, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to place down a couple of foundations or whatever you want, really, right? Now, once you get those foundations in place, you're going to use a ramp. Now, because you can see the ramp, this is the actual ramp. It's not as a incline as much as the stairs. So we're actually going to focus on using the stairs. So when you use the stairs, you can place down this right here on top of the stairs. Now, what I like to do is I like to get as high as I can on this thing, right? And then you're going to go ahead and plop it down. Now, once you plop it down, you can stick, so you can see it. There it is. There's the snap point. It'll create a snap point for this gateway right here. Now, once you have the gateway snap point again, you're going to be able to start building off of that. Notice how it creates this snap point, and then we have sometimes it's hard to find, but you can find a snap point for this actual gateway. Now you can also snap other gates to this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create that right there. So you can see that now we've gone to a 45-degree angle for our actual build right there. So that's a good thing. Now what we're going to do is you're going to notice that we have points in which we can build these guys. Now these are fence foundations or fence frames. And notice how they're going 45 degrees into the earth, which is what we're trying to do. Because once we have the fence foundations in place, what we can do is we can start actually placing things on top of the fence foundations. Now, that could be anything from a foundation itself. Sometimes you can get a good angle where you can actually place it down. Sometimes you can't. You can also place down walls at this 45-degree angle. So you can see how that wall just got placed right there, right? So using this fence foundation, we're actually able to start creating anything at a 45-degree angle. And then you will be able to eventually find snap points that actually work. Notice how I've got that foundation right now, right? So now that I've been able to get it into the ground, this is, why is my Gallimimus freaking out over there? Whatever. But you can see that now I've got a foundation at 45 degrees. Now I want to go a little bit further than this, right? Because we want to build sideways. So you have to place one more stairs, and see how this one goes vertical when I look straight up, right? There we go. So now our stairs are perfectly vertical. You can see it right there, right? So stairs now go straight up, and we're going to do the exact same thing that we just did beforehand. To this, you can snap this structure right here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and disable snapping so I can place it down this wall, this spike wall. And we just have to find a point in which it can actually place. Now that can sometimes be the hardest part, but it is doable. I'm just telling you it is. So you can see that right there, I've got a snap point. Not exactly my favorite snap point, but it is doable. So you just need to locate on this area, the structure, where that snap point is. Now, sometimes it's easy to find, sometimes it's not. I typically find them higher up on this thing. So you can see that I've got this guy right here. I was able to find it a second ago. Where was it? And there we go. So now should be able to get, that is just about perfect. All right, but see how it's still at an angle just a little bit? I'm going to go ahead and undo that because I want it to be a perfect 90 degrees. I don't want it to be kind of 90 degrees. And now that right there looks like it's good. So you can see that that is just about perfect 90 degrees. Now what we can do to that, remember we can snap things to that. You have to enable snapping again. And boom, we now have a snap point for our gate, which is our intent, right? You can see we've got the gate snap down. And now we're going to use fence foundations again. See how we've got this new snap point that's just been created of 90 degrees straight down. And you can see that it kind of like locks into place right there, right? We want to try and be able to demolish some of this stuff. So I just want to show you what happens. So if I demolish that, it's still going to keep the gate in place. Now, it does have a connection right here. Now, here's the negative, right? So if I go ahead and pick this up, it is going to stay in place. But if you start removing some of this stuff, you need to still create the basic snap point for this guy right here. So now that we've moved some of this structure, find the point where you can place another. See that right there? We now have a fence foundation that is 90 degrees down. And then we're going to use the exact same strategy. So see how I can place walls at a perfect degree now? Now that I have walls in place, I should be able to place, and you saw it right there, foundations completely sideways. Now this also allows me to stack foundations on top of each other using pre-existing snap points, right? So you can see that I can actually stack these on top of each other, which is pretty awesome. And it allows you to literally build sideways, which is what our goal was from the very beginning. Now with the foundations, you are going to have to build your foundations touching the ground. They will not stack upwards. So you have to use pillars and things like that in order to actually snap to it. But it's a super useful strategy for building some really neat structure, right? Now, in case you wanted to do it again, just so you can see, right? Now I've got these gates and they are completely sideways. You can do this strategy however you want. And now that we've got these attached to these foundations right here, I'm gonna go ahead and demo this stuff so you can see. There we go. Just like that. So now this is the more complex way, but you're gonna get it pretty much guaranteed to be able to snap and create these snap points that almost look like they're perfectly 90 degrees. Now, yes, this does work. However, if you have a snap point with the spiked walls, you can always just start this right off the bat by placing down spike walls on any structure that allows them to be perpendicular to the ground. So see how that goes sideways? We have now created a snap point, and there we go. So there's another immediate snap point at 45 degrees, and we can run the exact same strategy to attach it to stairs or to attach it to whatever we want. And this one allows us to build at almost a 45-degree incline right off the bat. And you just need to locate the snap point in order to actually accomplish this feat. Now, the cool thing is, as long as this gateway is touching the ground, we can go in and remove the spike walls, and we have access to this right here. So all you've got to do is snap different things in different locations just like this. I know there are other structures that can be used. It's just, in my opinion, the actual spike walls tend to work the best because they create snap points right off the bat, right? So this is definitely something that you want to keep in mind, and definitely use it because there's definitely some neat purposes. I'm working on to see if I can use this for PvE or PvP, because I think there's some pretty cool things, because if you can bury these into the ground, just so you guys can see, once you bury them into the ground, you can place flat walls like this, and things cannot actually stand on top of walls. So it creates a point where you actually have to slide no matter what, which is useful for PvP, because if you have an area that's completely metal walled on the ground, you have to blow them up in order to actually do anything. So yeah, it's definitely a unique feature, and it gives you certain customizations, like being able to put a gateway like this sideways is a big advantage, especially if you prevent people from being able to get close. And it'll definitely trip some people out, because it's going to be very difficult to raid if a base or some parts of a base are completely sideways. Now, normal structures apply, by the way. So if I wanted to place a refrigerator down, it is still based on gravity. I would not be able to snap it to the side. Anything that does snap refrigerator wise, you can actually, I mean, like anything that can be snapped sideways, like turrets and stuff like that, will still snap to the side, just like you can see right here. But anything else outside of turrets needs to be placed vertically like this, even though it's sideways. I know it's kind of confusing, but that is how they have to be placed. But they are still placeable structures on top of this sideways stuff. So anyways, hopefully this video helps you out. And if you don't mind, smack that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. All right, teach.